Hi everyone. So today's topic is profit, loss, and discount. So let's try and understand what are the things, concepts, and questions that are related to profits and discount. Now, this is one of the very important topics that you should be also preparing because it will come in almost every single exam, be it CAT or NMAT or SNAP or CET. So you'll find definitely one or few questions from this particular idea. So let's first begin. Let's first try and understand in a very simple manner what is exactly profit, what is exactly loss, etc. etc. So let's take a simple example. So for example, uh, let's assume this guy, Anand sandwich seller. So what he does is he wakes up every day in the morning, goes to the market to buy all the raw material that is required to make the sandwiches, which can be bread, butter, cheese, vegetables, etc. And using all of that raw material, what he does is he makes the sandwiches and sells them in the evening. So let's assume few data points. Let's assume all of that raw material which is required to make sandwiches, let's say that costs him 120 rupees. And using all of this raw material, let's say he's able to make six sandwiches and he sells them, each sandwich at 25 rupees, for example. So let's say if he's able to sell all six of them, he'll be making 150 rupees as the revenue, or that rather becomes our selling price. So now the thing is here, in this case, if you can understand, he has invested 120 rupees as the amount to buy the raw material, and using all of that, he made a revenue, or he got a total selling price of 150 rupees by selling all six sandwiches at 25 rupees per sandwich. So obviously in this case उसका profit हुआ होगा, and वो profit जो है वो 30 rupees का होगा. और वो 30 rupees, how did you arrive at that number? So obviously you would have done selling price minus cost price. So that's the formula for profit. It is selling price minus cost price. In this particular example, it is 30 rupees. Now, similarly, we have to also calculate this profit in percentage. So percentage profit, the formula is profit upon cost price into 100. So obviously 30 rupees का profit हो रहा है उसका, and cost price is 120 because उसका investment 120 था. So 30 upon 120, if you understand the fraction, it becomes 1 by 4, and 1 by 4 is 25%, basically. So fractions and percentages again will play a part here. Every time we'll see how to solve a particular question, basically. So answer is 25% of the profit. Now, this is one such scenario. Let's take another scenario where, let's say, on some unfortunate day, he's not able to sell all the six sandwiches. Example, he's able to sell, let's say, only four of them at 25 rupees per sandwich. So obviously on that particular day his revenue will be only 100 rupees, and on that particular day he will make a loss of 20 rupees because cost price minus selling price. So loss ka formula is cost price is bigger, and cost price minus selling price gives you a loss, basically. Now, similarly, we can calculate this in terms of percentage. The percentage loss ka formula remains similar to percentage profit, that is loss upon CP into 100. So in this case, the loss is 20 rupees and cost price is 120 rupees. So 120 upon, sorry, 20 upon 120 becomes, if you reduce the fraction, it becomes 1 upon 6, and 1 upon 6 is 16.66%, or 16.67% rather, if you know the fractions. So that into 100 becomes kind of irrelevant to us if you are good with percentages and fractions. So very basic idea, very elementary idea, that percentage profit and percentage loss. Now looking at both these formulae, you will also realize one thing, or rather you should remember this one thing, that whatever this profit or loss that we calculate normally, it is always calculated on the cost price. The base value is always cost price. So you'll see the formula of both percentage profit and percentage loss. In the denominator we have cost price. So this is a very easy and the introductory idea. Then let's go to the next idea, that is another concept, something called as margin percentage basically. Now, what is this margin percentage? Let's try and understand that in detail also. So, margin is, we can say in a way, it's a profit only, but then how it is different than the normal profit? So the big difference between normal profit and margin, that is, for calculating percentage profit, you calculated on cost price, as we just now saw few moments ago. But if you want to calculate margin percentage, you will have to calculate it on selling price. So it is defined basically that profit calculated as a percentage of selling price. So this means what? We can create a formula for margin percentage actually. So we can say that percentage margin will be profit upon cost upon selling price into 100. So this can be your formula for margin percentage, if you can understand that. So if we go back to that sandwich example, and if you remember, he had a investment of 120 rupees every day, and on profit day he made 150 rupees as a revenue. So his profit was 30 rupees. And when we calculated the normal profit, it is profit upon CP, which is 30 upon 120, which is 1 by 4, which is 25%. But let's say in the same example, we are supposed to calculate margin percentage, then the formula becomes profit upon SP, that is 30 upon 150. And if you reduce the fraction, it becomes 1 by 5. And 1 by 5, you should remember, is 20%. So the same example, normal profit is 25%, but margin percentage, if you want to calculate, it is 20% with the similar kind of calculation. So this is how we can figure out what is margin percentage. So do remember this part also. So only small change in the formula. Instead of calculating it on cost price, we are going to calculate it on selling price. That's the difference. So this is a very initial part, the introductory part, that what is margin, what is normal profit, what is normal loss. Now let's move on to the next idea, which is the concept of market price. Now, what is this market price? Again, let's try and understand with an example. So let's say, excuse me. So let's say whenever you go to shopping somewhere, the first thing that you will do is, if you like something, you will ask for the price. So let's say the shopkeeper says, sir or madam, it is for 150 rupees, example. And obviously, if it is not a very sophisticated place, then you will try to bargain, the Indian tendency of that. So we'll try to bargain and try to get the price lower as much as possible. The shopkeeper will also try to maintain the price as much as possible, so that his profit doesn't get eroded or uh, reduced further. So let's say after few mutual understanding, you both agreed, and let's assume that he sells you at 120 rupees. Now think about this. Do you think, despite of selling you at 120 rupees, he would have made a loss? So definitely not, because clearly no businesses will ever run on losses, right? So that means in reality, his actual investment or the cost price for the same article would have been much lower than 120 rupees. So just for the calculation purpose, let's assume that he got that item only for 100 rupees. And if you see what he did here very smartly, when you asked for the price for the very first time, he never told you 100 rupees, he never told you also 120 rupees, but he told you a price which is 150 rupees, which is higher. So he increased the price, probably knowing the tendency that the customers might bargain and then he'll have to reduce it further. So that's what the process was behind his entire thinking, and hence he increased that price. Now coming to the technical part. So whatever is this initial price of 150 rupees that he told you for the very first time, the technical word for that is called as marked price. So that is not initial price, the technical word for that is marked price basically. Then the hike, the increase that he did. So originally it costed him only 100 bucks, but he told you 150 rupees. So he increased the price by 50 rupees. So that 50 rupees is called as the hike is called as markup. So mind you, markup and mark price are very different things. So markup is the hike that happens on the cost price, and mark price is the price that you arrive after the hike has happened on the cost price. Then from 150 to 120, the 30 rupees ka difference is the discount that you got after bargaining. And then 120 to 100, the 20 rupees ka difference is the shopkeeper ka profit basically. So this is the way you can think about it when it comes to such questions. Now this diagram is very critical, and if you can remember this clearly, it will help you lot many times to solve the question, to have that clarity, and also to understand few formulae that we are about to see right now basically. So what are the formulas that we need to understand here? So four formulas to be precise. First one is the concept of markup. So markup is defined as the hike that has happened on cost price. So the 50 rupees is the number in this particular example. How do we arrive at this 50? So we would have done 150 minus 100. So the formula becomes mark price minus cost price basically for the markup. Then there is a formula for a discount also. Now again, if you understand this, you got a discount of 30 rupees. How did you arrive at this 30? 150 minus 120. So it becomes mark price minus selling price. 150 minus 120. That gives you 30 rupees ka discount. Same to formula, we have to also find out in percentage. Percentage markup will be markup upon cost price, because the hike that is happening on cost price. So the base value has to be cost price. And into 100, why? Because we are finding it in percentages. And similarly, percentage discount, the percentage discount will be discount upon mark price, because the discount of 30 rupees is given on mark price. So the base value for calculating percentage discount is mark price, and into 100 again because for the percentage factor. So again, if you know fractions and percentages, this part becomes irrelevant. Into 100, you can simply find out the answers. So these are the additional four formulae that you need to remember very clearly. And also one more thing you can remember, this mark price is also called as catalog price, probably list price, and so on and so forth. So if at all any of these words are also used, do not get confused. They all mean the same thing, which is basically marked price. So this is the concept of mark price and discount that you also need to understand and remember, because questions are normally asked on this idea as well basically. So that's about mark price and discount, folks. There is one more thing that we need to explore before we jump into the questions. So what are those things? Let's try and understand. So the idea is buying and selling of multiple articles, and इसमें we have two scenarios. One scenario is this: items that are bought at same cost price. So in the handouts, they have given one simple statement, and it's a general statement which says there are two items and they are purchased at the same price, and then one is sold at a p% profit and one is sold at a p% loss. Then we have to find out the net outcome for this transaction. Now the idea here is they have not given any numbers, they have given something in general terms, which is p% profit, p% loss, etc. So what we will try to do is we'll assume a scenario. So let's assume that, example, we have two laptops. Both have been bought at the same cost price. That condition should be the uh, main condition. And then after a while, When we sold them, one is sold at 10% profit, example, and the other one is sold at 10% loss, for example. So we have assumed the numbers 10% profit, 10% loss. Now what we can do is we can use the method of fractions or parts rather. So 10% becomes fraction में 1 by 10, and percentage profit का formula you guys know probably by now. It is profit upon CP. I'm only considering the fraction now. Into 100 becomes irrelevant, and that was 10%, which is 1 by 10. And because they both are profits only, so what we can simply do is we can simply equate the numerators and denominators. We can say profit is 1, CP is 10. So selling price becomes 11. Why 11? Because think about this. If you buy something at 10 rupees, cost price is 10, and you are going to sell it at 1 rupees profit, example, so obviously your selling price becomes 11. It should become. Then there is loss also. So the formula for percentage loss is loss upon CP into 100, and that is also 10%, which is again 1 by 10. And because they both are losses, we can simply again compare the same thing. So we can say that cost price is 10, loss is 1. So think about this. You are buying something at 10 rupees and you're selling it at 1 rupees loss. So at what price you will be selling? So obviously you will be selling at 9 rupees basically. So that's a basic version that I've told you. They have done the same thing. This the structure is slightly different. I just wanted to make that point. So most of the time we are going to use this kind of methods while solving the questions, the fractions and the percentages, and we'll play with the formulas every time. Now, once all of this basic idea is done, you should always go back to the main condition. So the main condition is that the cost price is same in both the scenarios. So we should check that. And yes, if you observe the numbers, in both cases the cost price is same only. So your half job is done. Let's assume if it is not same, in some cases it might happen that it is not same. So you'll have to make it equal by taking the LCM, that is common multiple. So but if it is same, you simply have to do the total. So we have to do the total cost price and the total selling price for both the transaction combined together. So when we do that, so total cost price of both the laptops becomes 20 rupees because 10 plus 10. And total selling price also becomes 20 because 11 plus 9. And when you read this or when you come across this, that cost price is also 20, selling price is also 20, that is both are same, which means there is a break even scenario. And there is no profit, no loss. So what is the idea that you need to remember? So if at all, if you come across something like this, that there are two items and they both are bought at the same cost price, one at a profit of P% and one at a loss of P%, then you do not have to do any of this at all. You can simply say, or as a conclusion, you can simply use the conclusion that it's a case of no profit, no loss. You don't have to do anything else. And that's the shortcut. But mind you, the conditions are very important. Cost price should be same, and percentage profit and percentage loss the number should also be same. Only and only then it is applicable. So that is one scenario. What is the other scenario? Items sold at same selling price. Again, same thing they have given. There are two items which are sold at the same selling price, one at a profit of P%, one at a loss of P%. Then what happens? So we are keeping the data same. There are two laptops. Both are sold at the same selling price. One at a profit of 10%, one at a loss of 10%. So we have again kept the numbers same. And because the numbers are same, so this initial calculation will remain the same. Now what we are supposed to do is that the selling price should be same. But if you observe the selling price, you will realize that they are not same. So you'll have to make it same. That is by taking LCM. So 11 and 9 ka LCM becomes 99. So to make this 11 and 9 as 99, We have to multiply each of them by 9 and 11 respectively. And when we do that, we'll have to multiply the entire numbers also on left side by 9 and on the right side by 11, because they all are connected among each other like that, because the ratio is 1 by 10. 10% is 1 by 10, hence. So when you do this, what will happen is both your selling prices becomes 99, which is equal, which is what they wanted. But in the process, the cost price will end up changing a bit. So the one cost price on the left side becomes 90 and the one on the right side becomes 110. Now once the selling prices are equal, we can do the totaling again. So when we do the total cost price of both the laptops turns out to be 200 and the total selling price turns out to be 198. Now when you calculate this loss percentage, because there is a loss of 2 rupees, loss is loss upon CP into 100, which is 2 upon 200 into 100. Turns out it is going to be a 1% loss in this particular transaction, as you can see. But now the idea is what you have to remember. If this is what happens, that the items are sold at same selling price, and then one is sold at a profit of P%, one is sold at a loss of P%, there is always going to be a loss. And we calculated this as 1% in this particular scenario after a lot of calculations. Now, the idea here is that you can directly calculate this 1% by remembering the shortcut formula. And that shortcut formula is this one, that is P square by 100. So this is what you need to remember. So if you remember, for our scenario, we have assumed this value of P% as 10%. So for us, the loss percent becomes P square by 100, which is 100 upon 100, which is 1. And if you see, we have also gotten the same thing. So this is the formula that you have to remember, basically. So this is the idea, which is buying and selling of multiple articles, which included two scenarios. Both scenarios are very particular. Try and remember each of their conditions and the conclusions so that you can apply them directly going forward, if at all it is required, whenever in any particular questions. Basically. So that's the majority of the concept. There is one more concept which we'll see towards the end part with the help of questions only directly, not separate as such. So so meanwhile, let's do few questions so that you understand how do we apply whatever we have learned so far. So this is the first question. Of course, if you have watched this concept video entirely so far, I would request you to pause this at this moment, try this yourself, and then see the solution. So let's start with the solution. So they say a dealer makes a profit of 10% after selling an item at a discount of 10%. What percentage above the cost price? Yes, yes, mark the item. Now, clearly to solve this question, we can do this with three different approaches. We'll see two of them for sure. One you guys can try because the numbers are simple, 10%. So we can think of method of base 100, which I'm not getting into. I'll do it with the fractions part. So if you remember, what are they saying? That there is a profit of 10%. So 10% becomes 1 by 10 fraction. And if we use the formula, percentage profit is profit upon CP. And because they both are same, we can simply equate the things. So we can say that profit is 10%, which is 1 by 10. So that means cost price is 10 rupees and there is a 1 rupee profit. So selling price becomes 11 rupees. as we are discussing, as we are seeing right now. Then there is one more data that is given, that is there is a discount of 10% also. So discount of 10% means again it is 1 by 10, and percentage discount ka formula is discount upon mark price. So again, if we simply equate the numerators and the denominators, you can say that mark price is 10, and that diagram is again very critical that we have discussed during the concept of mark price, that on the mark price, if you give the discount, obviously you end up arriving at selling price again. So mark price is 10. On 10 rupees, if you give 1 rupees discount, the selling price becomes 9 rupees basically. And now comes the interesting part, which is what you all need to realize or remember rather. That is, in this entire transaction, what has happened is with 10% profit, the selling price is 11, and with 10% discount, the selling price is 9. And it's the same transaction that we are talking about. So clearly, you should understand one point, that this selling price, both of these selling prices cannot be different. They have to be equal, and that means they are not equal right now as of now. So we'll have to make them equal. So again, we have to think of LCM. So to make this equal, we'll have to multiply this 11 by 9, and that means we'll have to also multiply the cost price by 9 because they both are connected. And to make the other selling price 99, we'll have to multiply it by 11. So that means we'll have to also multiply the mark price by 11. So when we do that, what ends up happening is that both these selling prices, they all are going to be same, which is 99. But in the process, the cost price and the mark price has changed a bit. So the new cost price is 90 and the new mark price is 110. And now let's again revisit the question because this is very, very important. What are we supposed to find out from the question? So we are supposed to find out what percentage above the cost price he has marked the item. That means we are supposed to find out the markup percentage. If you again remember the formula of markup, it is markup upon cost price into 100. Into 100 I am not considering as of now. And markup ka formula is also, you know, that is mark price minus cost price. So we have the all numbers. Mark price is 110, cost price is 90 divided by cost price. So this becomes 20 by 90, which becomes 2 by 9. You should remember 1 by 9, the fractions, that is 11.11%. So 2 by 9 is double of that, which clearly means it will be 22.22 percentage. So according to me, this is the correct answer, which is answer option 4 for this particular question, which is 22.22%. And this is using method of parts. So the core idea here was both selling prices cannot be different, one after the profit percent and one after the discount percent. They both have to be same. So we made them equal by taking LCM and then did the calculations. I hope you have understood this method. We'll try and do this with one more method so that you understand the varieties also and how to apply different things at different places. Okay, now let's look at the other method, that is a method of successive percentage. So now this is the idea that few of you would have explored in one of the previous topics. So for those who don't know, I'll explain you this in bit. So for example, successive percentage is only used when you have two or more percentage numbers. And our question actually qualifies for that because we have two percentage numbers. One is profit percentage, one is discount percentage. That's a different story, but we have two percentage numbers. So in successive percentage, there is a formula that you guys need to remember, and that formula is net change is equal to a plus b plus AB upon 100. This is the formula for successive percentage, where this A and B are the two percentage numbers. There is only one thumb rule that you need to remember. Any percentage increase should be substituted as positive, and any percentage decrease should be substituted as negative in the formula while considering the values of A and B basically. So this formula is under the assumption that both A and B are percentage increases, hence they have been taken as positive numbers, and so on and so forth. Now, coming to our question. So again, first we need to think from a very basic perspective that what all we have been given in the data. So one is profit, one is discount, and we were supposed to find out markup percentage. Now, before we apply the formula straight away, we also need to identify from our data or our question ka data that what is net change, what is A, what is B, and so on and so forth. We cannot blindly apply the formula. So that diagram is again very critical that we saw during the concept of mark price. And that diagram is for any business, obviously the final aim is to generate profit. So that means profit becomes the net change. And to earn that profit, what are the strategies that the businessman employs? So obviously, what he'll do is he'll first increase the price, and that increase we know is called as markup. And as we saw in the thumb rule, percentage increase are supposed to be taken as positive. So let's assume there is a m% increase in the price. So we arrived at mark price. Now from here, if the customer bargains, the shopkeeper will have to give us the discount. And if he gives us the discount, the price is reduced. And any percentage decrease should be taken as negative. So discount is percentage decrease, so it is taken as minus D%. And in the process, the shopkeeper ends up making his profit, and that is P%. So first of all, what we'll have to do is we'll have to think a formula of successive percentage in our scenario. And using these three situations, for us, the net change is the profit. So for us, the formula becomes profit is equal to M minus D minus MD upon 100. Why so? Because one of them is plus and the other one is minus. So the minus are supposed to be substituted as negative, and if one number is negative, the product also becomes negative, and hence minus MD. And I hope you guys understand that. Now let's do the substitution. They have given us 10% profit. They have given us 10% discount in the question, and they are asking us to find out the markup percentage, which we could have done straight away using this formula, basically in one line only. So how do we simplify now? Again, this minus 10 on this side goes to this side, becomes plus. So this becomes M. And this 1 0 and 1 0 gets out. So this becomes M by 10. Now M minus M by 10 is 9M by 10. This 10 goes there. So 9M is 200. M is 200 by 9, which is again 22.22%. Same answer as we had also gotten earlier. So folks, this is the other method which you can apply here, and you will now see the best part: allegation and successive percentage, out of which successive percentage is one entire separate idea which we are now applying in profit loss, which tells you the integration between the topics also, and that is what you also need to learn over the time so as to solve the questions efficiently. So this is the second method to solve the same question. So remember this formula you can use in the similar scenarios directly going forward, if at all you have any such questions that caters to it basically. Now let's talk about the second question. So in the second question they are saying After a commission of 25% is given on the mark price of a product, the gain is still 25%. Now, very interesting. The commission is given on the mark price, and you need to understand what is given on mark price. So, only discount is given on mark price. So, here commission actually means it's a discount, and the gain is still 25%. So, what we can do is a few moments ago, we used a formula of successive percentage in the similar kind of data where profit was given, discount was given, we calculated percentage markup. Let's do that again one more time. So profit is M minus D minus MD upon 100. And both profit and discount are now 25% as given in the data. So this minus comes here, becomes plus. 25 fours are 100. This becomes M minus M by 4. M minus M by 4 is 3M by 4. 4 goes there. 3M is 50, 4s are 200. M is 200 by 3, which is 66.66%. So we have found out the markup percentage. Now, what are they asking us to do? They are saying find the gain percentage. So we have to find the profit. If the commission, that is discount, is increased to 30%. So what we can do actually here is we can use the same formula one more time. Why? Because now we are supposed to find out the profit. Markup percentage is what we have calculated right now, and discount is given, which is 30. So after substitution, this is what it looks like. So 66.66 minus 30 gives you 36.66. This 10 goes off. This becomes 6.66 into 3. 6.66 into 3, 19.98 something, which is almost 20. And 36.66 minus 20 is obviously 16.66% as the answer, which is profit, which is answer option 3 for that matter. So one more reason why we learned that formula of successive percentage in the first question, because we can apply it here in the second question, and we can do it two times. One to calculate the percentage markup, and once we have the markup, percentage markup, we can use it again one more time in the same formula to get your desired answer, that is percentage gain, that is profit percentage. Because now the discount is increased to 30%. I hope you are able to understand. So this was our second question. Let's talk about the third one, which says an item is sold at a profit of 20% to its cost price. Had the profit been 20% of the present selling price, the vendor would have gained 720 more. What is the present selling price? Very simple data. So we can do base 100. Profit is 20%. If we take cost price as 100, selling price becomes 120 because 20% profit. Now they are saying, and this part is very important, had the profit been 20% of the present selling price. The present selling price is 120. So we have to find out 20% of that basically. So 120 ka 20% is 24. So the new selling price becomes 124. A lot of the people make mistake here. They take it as 144. They will add in 120 only the 24, which is incorrect. Why? Because we do not add profit in selling price. We add profit in cost price. Do not forget the basics. Do not forget the fundamentals. So this would have been the hypothetical situation. So now if you compare, earlier earlier his profit would have been 20 rupees only, because 100 to 120, and now it has become 24, because 20% of the present selling price. So what we understand in our scenarios, the vendor would have gained 4 rupees more, because the earlier profit was 20, now the new profit is 24. So he would have gained 4 rupees more. But what are they saying? The vendor would have given 720 rupees more in their scenario. So ours 4 extra, theirs is 720 rupees. And they are asking what is the present selling price. So obviously present selling price is 120. They are asking how much is that basically. So 120 is how much? What we should be doing is simply cross multiplying, and you will get your. So let's cross multiply. Suppose that is x. So 4 into x is 120 into 720. You have to find out x. So that is 120 into 720 upon 4, which gives you, if I'm not wrong, 21600, which is answer option 2 basically. So this is how you could have done this particular question very easily, very simply, and you can have your answer. So that's your third question. Let's talk about the fourth one, which says a leading brand of jeans has a new offer for its customer: buy 3 jeans and get one free. Assuming all the jeans are priced equally, what is the percentage discount that the customer is getting? Now, how do we solve this question? So, we can simply say after reading this that it is the case of number of freebies. Buy these many, get these many free, etc. etc. Whenever you are dealing with number of freebies, there is a simple concept or a formula that you guys can remember, and that formula is but the reference has to be this percentage discount to the customer. Only then the formula is applicable. So the formula is number of freebies divided by total quantity. Number of freebies divided by total quantity. So we have to explore how much free we are getting. So obviously one free we are getting. And how many total genes now we will have? Obviously we'll have 4 genes, because 1 plus 3 is 4. And 1 by 4 is 25% straight away, which is answer option 1 basically. You can think like this, you can remember this stuff, so that any such question comes, you can do it in seconds, you can do it in 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. That's how you save time. Let's talk about the fifth one, which says by selling 14 oranges for a rupee, a man loses 12%. How many for a rupee he should sell so as to gain 12%? So I have a slightly different way to think about such questions, and again you can apply that here. Few things you'll have to remember. So he's selling 14 oranges for 1 rupees. We can say selling price of one orange becomes 1 by 14, because he sold 14 oranges for 1 rupees. So the selling price of one orange is 1 by 14, and by doing so he has lost 12% of the capital basically. So assuming that the original capital was 100%, So can we say because he's losing 12%, the same thing becomes, can I say it becomes now 88% of cost price? Instead of selling price, we can say it is 88% of cost price of one orange. That number is still the same, which is 1 by 14. And why this 88 percentage? Because he lost 12%. Hence, assuming 100% is the cost price. So now from here, what we can do is we can find out cost price of one orange. How do we do that? So this 88% goes on the other side. So 88% is 88 by 100. But if goes on the other side, it becomes ulta. It becomes 100 by 88. I hope you understand so far this much, whatever we have done. So this becomes the cost price of one orange. And now they are saying what? How many for a rupee? How many for 1 rupee he should sell so that he gains 12%? So if he's gonna gain 12%, can we say the selling price becomes 112% of cost price? And that is what we need to find out now. 12% profit, hence. So now let's do the calculation. 112% is 112 upon 100. CP of one orange is already known to us from equation number 1. So let's substitute that here, which is 1 by 14 into 100 upon 88. Let's do this now. 100 goes off. You have 112 divided by 14 into 1 by 88 basically. So let's divide these numbers by 4. If you know the tables, you can even do it faster. So 14 8 za is 112. So this becomes 8 by 88, which becomes after further reduction 1 by 11. So that means if he has to make a 12% profit, the selling price of one orange that we are finding out, selling price of one orange, and we have find that out now. We have found that out now. That is 1 by 11. So selling price of one orange is 1 by 11. But they are asking for 1 rupee, how many he should sell. So clearly, I think 11 oranges he should sell for 1 rupees, so as to make a 12% profit basically. Quite theoretical, these few steps, the initial 2 3 lines, they are the only ones that are important. In the end, you start calculating and you'll get the answer, but keep it at the last. Do not initially calculate, just blindly keep on substituting. And now the beauty of this method is what, you can do any question like this. For example, they say by selling uh, 20 apples for 2 rupees, a man loses 30%. How many for 1 rupee he should sell to gain 24%, etc. etc. So it's just numbers. The numbers will keep changing, but the method, the flow, the solving process will remain the same. And that is why I like this method specifically, because I can do it like this for any particular question which is asked in a similar fashion, basically. So that's the one. That is method number, sorry, question number 5. Answer is 11 according to me. Yes, answer is 11, which is option 3. Slightly different way. Similar, what they are also doing. Maybe not exactly the same way to write it probably. Okay, so let's do question number 6 now, which says a trader sells two irons for 1200 each, one at a profit of 20%, one at a loss of 20%. can find his net profit or net loss. Very, very important. The concept of buying and selling of multiple articles will come into the picture right now. The best part is the selling price is the same, and then one iron is sold at a profit of 20%, and the other one is sold at a loss of 20%, basically. So profit percentage and loss percentage is also same. So the selling price same wala criteria. And if you remember anything from the concept, you can go back and check it out. That in that case, there is always going to be a loss, and that loss is given by a formula, and that formula is p square by 100, and p as of now for us is 20%. So for us it becomes 20 square upon 100, and 20 square is 400, 400 upon 100 is 4%. But obviously, if you see the options, the answers are not in percentage, they are in rupees. So that means we'll have to convert now this into rupees. So 4% in rupees, for that we'll need to convert it first in fraction. So 4% is 1 by 25. And since it is percentage loss, the formula for percentage loss is loss upon CP. Because both are same, so we can simply equate the things. The loss is 1, CP is 25, selling price becomes 24. Why 24? Because assuming you are buying something at 25 and you're selling it at 1 rupees loss, so obviously selling price becomes 24, 1 rupees less. Now this is all in our terms. We have to compare with their terms. So they have given us the selling price. It is 1200 each. Now these words are also important. There were two ions if you remember. Individually both of them is at 1200. The selling price. So combined selling price is 2400 basically. 1200 plus 1200. And then they're asking what is the loss. So 24 is 2400. One is how much? Clearly in such cases now you should not do literal cross multiplication. You should be good enough with numbers to understand something. From 24 to 2400 will arrive by multiplying 100. So same should happen here. Multiplying factor should remain same. So 1 into 100 becomes 100. So it's a 100 rupees loss, which is answer option 4 to be precise. This is how you can think about this sixth particular question. Buying and selling of multiple articles. Now let's talk about the next question. Which says there are two varieties of oranges, one costing 30 rupees per kilo, other costing 50 rupees per kilo. If you mix equal quantities of both types of oranges and sell the mixture at 45 rupees per kilo, what is the net percentage profit or loss? Now the important part here is, which is what you guys need to remember, equal quantity. So that means you can assume any quantity for both the types as long as it is same. So you can assume both varieties individually. You are taking 1 kilo, 5 kilo, 10 kilo, half kilo. But whatever you do, make sure it is same, which is the most important idea. So to keep it simple, let's assume that we'll mix both varieties ka 1 kg each. So one variety 30 rupees one per kilo. So if we take 1 kilo of that, we'll be investing 30 rupees. And in the other variety, 50 rupees per kilo, 1 kilo of that will invest 50 rupees. So the total investment so far has become 80 rupees, 30 and 50 respectively for 1 kilo each. Now we have to mix them both and we have to sell the mixture at 45 rupees per kilo. So if we let's say mix both these varieties, so we'll have 2 kilos of mixture, 1 kilo each. So 2 kilos of mixture and we are supposed to sell at 45 rupees per kilo. So the total selling price obviously becomes 45 to 90 rupees. So clearly there is a profit and the profit of 10%. But they are asking in percentage terms. Percentage profit, the formula is profit upon CP. Profit is 10, CP is 80. It becomes 1 by 8. 1 by 8 is 12.5%, which is answer option 2 for this particular question. And this is how you can simply solve this. So very easy and straightforward question. Everything was given. All you had to do was just simply remember or understand one thing, that you are mixing same quantity. You could have taken any number, 1 kilo, 5 kilo, 10 kilo, whatever. Make sure you take it same. It is equal. Let's talk about question number 8 now, which says similar kind of data. There are two varieties of oranges, one costing 30 rupees per kilo, other costing 50 rupees per kilo. If you mix both types of oranges worth equal amount. Now here the things have changed. They are saying equal amount. So whatever amount that you assume, it is supposed to be same. And then again you sell the mixture at 45 rupees per kilo. What is the profit or what is the loss in percentage? Now what happens here is you can assume any random number also. The only challenge probably that it will have is that the calculation can be a little bit tougher. For example, if you assume that both varieties you are taking 100 rupees, but the first variety the price is 30 rupees per kilo. So in 100 rupees you will get 3.33 kilos, which makes it a bit difficult. The second variety is simple, 50 rupees per kilo. So in 100 rupees you will get 2 kilos. So the suggestion is just to improve the calculation. It's not that you cannot solve, it just becomes complicated unnecessarily. So the suggestion is try and assume such a number which is common to both these numbers. And that means common to 30 and 50 is basically LCM, least common multiple. So 30 and 50 ka LCM is 150. So let's assume something, that we are going to mix 150 rupees of both varieties. So in the first variety, it is of 30 rupees per kilo. So in 150 rupees, we'll get obviously 5 kilos. And second variety, the price is 50 rupees per kilo. So in 150 rupees, we'll get 3 kilos. Now, after this, what happens is we'll have to mix them both. So let's say we have invested so far 300 rupees, 150 plus 150. And when we mix these both, we get around 8 kilos of mixture. And we have to sell the mixture at 45 rupees per kilo. So 45 8s up, which is 360 rupees. So the selling price is again higher. So again there will be a profit. And but they are asking in percentage. Percentage profit is profit upon CP, which is 60 upon 300, which is 1 by 5. And 1 by 5 is 20%, which is answer option 5 as the answer basically. So here the condition was the value is same. Earlier the condition was quantity is same. So be very careful while reading. These are the small nuances that you have to pay attention to. So that's your question number 8. So these are the basic type of questions that are there on what we have learned as a concept, and then we have learned to apply them. We learned few new things also when it comes to the same concept. Now, the other type of concept that is only left in profit loss discount is something called as cheating. And cheating normally happens with the two types from the shopkeeper for the customer. One type of cheating is the adulteration of goods, and the other type of cheating is faulty weights. So both are very easy, straightforward questions. So the last three questions are basis that. Let's try and see them also. So when we talk about cheating, let's first read this question, which says a milkman mixes 1 liter of water in 4 liters of milk, pure milk, of course, and sells the mixture at cost price of the milk. Find his percentage profit or loss. Now, here, what you need to understand or remember that is this is the type, first of all, cheating, which is adulteration. So, if you remember, we have done one question which is based on number of freebies a few minutes ago. And similar to that, for adulteration also, we can have a simple formula which will make your life a bit easier. And obviously, why any shopkeeper will want to adulterate the goods? Obviously to earn the profit. So obviously loss कभी नहीं आ सकता ये केस में, परसेंटेज प्रॉफिट ही होना चाहिए. तो अगर अडल्ट्रेशन हो रहा है और शॉपकीपर का परसेंटेज प्रॉफिट चाहिए, तो दिस इज द फॉर्मूला दैट यू नीड टू use. The formula is adulterated quantity divided by pure quantity. So how much is the adulteration? So 1 liter of water is the adulteration and 4 liters of milk is the pure quantity. Obviously it becomes 1 by 4 and 1 by 4 is 25% straight away, which is answer option 5. So this is how you can solve the question. Okay, now let's see the other two, which are basis faulty weights. So faulty weights, one thing that you should be very very careful about, that is the possibility of you getting your answer wrong is very very high, 50% almost, and that's a very high number. Why? Because there are two numbers. One of them you are supposed to consider, one of them you are not supposed to consider. Most of the time students end up doing the other way around, and hence they get the wrong answer. So hence you'll have to be very careful again when it comes to cheating. So how do we go about this? So let's first read the question. So the question is, a grocer claims to sell his goods at a cost price. However, he uses only 900 grams of weight instead of 1 kilo of weight. Find his percentage profit. That's the question. Now, in faulty weights, you can write down or make a note of one point which will help you to avoid that mistake that I was speaking about earlier. So the point is, in case of faulty weights, actual weight is always in the denominator. You can make a note of this. I'll repeat this one more time for you. In case of faulty weights, actual weight is always in the denominator. So idea is there are two types of weights normally. One is the actual weight, one is the displayed weight. So normally students end up taking displayed weight, which is the mistake. You have to always take actual weight in the denominator. For that, you need to read the question and find out what is the actual weight and what is the displayed weight. So many times there will be a confusion. Few times the question will give you direct clues to identify also. Few times may not, but let's see how to do that. So here if you see in the last part they are saying find this percentage profit. Now think about this. अगर शॉपकीपर का प्रॉफिट हो रहा है तो तुम्हें सामान ज्यादा आना चाहिए या कम आना चाहिए? तो क्लियरली कम आना चाहिए, तो ही शॉपकीपर का प्रॉफिट होगा. तो आइडिया ये है, एक्चुअल वेट जो है वो सिर्फ 900 ग्राम्स है, वेरस डिस्प्लेड वेट जो है वो 1 किलो का है. तो बेसिकली हुआ क्या होगा, उसने अपने वेइंग स्केल को मैनिपुलेट करके रखा होगा. तो तुम्हें डिस्प्ले पे दिख रहा है 1 किलो, सो यू विल पे फॉर एंटायर 1 किलो, बट इन रियलिटी तुम्हें 1 किलो मिल ही नहीं रहा है, तुम्हें सिर्फ 900 ग्राम्स मिल रहा है. तो ऑब्वियसली शॉपकीपर का जो प्रॉफिट है वो 100 ग्राम्स का हो जाएगा ऑन एवरी 900 ग्राम्स, बिकॉज एक्चुअल वेट डिनोमिनेटर में होना चाहिए. तो डिवाइड करना है 900 ग्राम से, हाँ 1000 ग्राम से, 1 किलो से नहीं डिवाइड करना है बिकॉज वो एक्चुअल वेट नहीं है. सो 100/900, जीरो जीरो उड़ा दिया, 1/9 हो जाएगा. 1/9 यू मस्ट नो बाय नाउ, दैट इज 11.11%. तो शॉपकीपर का जो प्रॉफिट है वो 11.11% का प्रॉफिट होगा इस तरीके से. So whenever you read, you have to always identify what is actual weight, what is displayed weight. Only then you will be able to solve such type of questions. I hope you have understood this. There is one more. Let's do that again. Read it, pause this, try yourself, and see whether you can get it right this time or not. So it says the spring balance of a shopkeeper shows 900 grams instead of 1 kilo of weight. Find the percentage profit or loss made by the shopkeeper. So ये थोड़ा सा relatively easy है if you are smart enough to figure that out. So look at the words. The spring balance of a shopkeeper shows 900 grams. तो shows यानी ये हो जाएगा तुम्हारा displayed weight हो जाएगा. That means actual weight जो है वो 1 किलो है अभी फिलहाल. And according to the note again, एक्चुअल वेट क्या होना चाहिए, डिनोमिनेटर में होना चाहिए. तो अब एक्चुअली शॉपकीपर का प्रॉफिट नहीं, शॉपकीपर का लॉस हो जाएगा, बिकॉज एक्चुअली सामान 1 किलो जा रहा है बट डिस्प्ले पे सिर्फ 900 ग्राम दिखेगा. तो शॉपकीपर का 100 ग्राम्स का लॉस हो जाएगा. द लॉस ऑफ शॉपकीपर इज 100 ग्राम्स on every 1000 grams, on every 1 kilo, because 1 kilo is the actual weight and it should be in the denominator. 1000 से डिवाइड करना है 100 को, तो 100 डिवाइड बाई 1000 फ्रैक्शन हो जाएगा, जीरो जीरो उड़ा के 1/10. 1/10 is 10%. So it's a loss of 10% for the shopkeeper in this particular transaction. So आंसर ऑप्शन 1 हो जाएगा क्वेश्चन नंबर 11 के लिए. सो इस तरीके से तुम फॉल्टी वेट्स वाले क्वेश्चन कर सकते हो, इन शॉर्ट चीटिंग वाले क्वेश्चन कर सकते हो. लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स वी लर्न. बेसिक प्रॉफिट लॉस क्या होता है, मार्जिन क्या होता है, देन मार्क प्राइस, मार्कअप, डिस्काउंट, फिर बाइंग एंड सेलिंग ऑफ मल्टीपल आर्टिकल्स, देन वी डिड लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, एंड देन इन द लास्ट पार्ट वी सॉ चीटिंग. उसमें भी दो पार्ट, अडल्ट्रेशन और फॉल्टी वेट्स. तो we are done here folks for today when it comes to profit loss discount. Go through all of this one more time, and if you still have any queries, do let us know. We'll be happy to help you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day.